Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today we're going to discuss the ultimate strategy for getting a fractured crown. And in case you're wondering what a fractured crown is, this is the fractured crown. It's called the fractured crown. It's a mage helmet. It's mage specific. You can only use it on the mage class. And it gives you spell critical strike multiplier. It gives you a huge amount of increased mana. And then the big thing, it takes a huge percentage, up to 50% of the damage that you take, and converts that damage into mana at a 5-to-1 ratio instead, which means that if you were to take 500 damage, 250 would automatically be negated into mana at a 5-to-1 ratio, reducing it down to only 50 mana gone missing. It can up to have the amount of damage that you take, which is huge. And so I got a couple of builds that are in the works that we'll be building around this. And the other day, I've never had one before, the other day on stream we decided, like, let's try to get it, let's see what it takes. And we came up with a strategy, we executed the strategy, and we ended up getting 3 of them really easy. So I'm going to show you that strategy, do exactly what I did on stream again here, and as long as RNG is with us, we should be able to get at least one, maybe more than one, and try and get an even better roll than the 45% one that we got. Now the strategy is really simple. What we're trying to do is we want to get a destructive fracture on a helm. But it's not just any helm, it has to be a gilded crown. On that crown, if you were to get a destructive fracture, it would give you the fractured crown at a 100% rate. So we're going to try and get a destructive fracture on a gilded crown. And for that, first I'm going to show you how instability works, because what we're going to do to set this up is we want to have as many items as possible, as many gilded crowns as possible that have a chance to destructive fracture. So let me explain how the whole fracture rate works. If we open up our crafting menu and we throw in this item, you'll see that we have a tier 1, a tier 2, and a tier 3. Now this has 4 instability. Now what that means is if we were to put a new affix on it that has no lower chance, we would have a 96% chance with a new affix, because you have 100 minus the 4. So if I go on and I wanted to say throw on mana, we have a 96% chance to upgrade. Now you could use a rune and make it 100%, but the way this works is for every tier up you go, that lowers the chance by 5. So if I try to have the same instability, but I try to go from a tier 1 to a tier 2, it'll drop it another 5. You notice we go down to 91. Same thing for tier 2 to tier 3. It's another 5% because we're another tier up. And then of course from tier 3 it's going to be another 5, but due to the latest patch, it also has an added 2% trying to go from tier 3 to tier 4. And tier 4 to tier 5 has an added extra 5 flat reduced chance. So this actually wouldn't bring us down to 81. It has an added 2, so it's actually going to take us down to 79. And if I had a tier 4 here and I clicked on that, it would be an additional 8 more than we have here. It would actually take you down to a 71% chance. So you can see that we want to go from a tier 4 to a tier 5. That's going to be the lowest chance. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a bunch of items, and we want to put as many tier 4s on that item while increasing the instability as much as possible. Starting at 26 instability, you have a 1% chance for a destructive fracture. And therefore we want to get above the 26 instability. 35 is what we're aiming for. We want to get 35 or higher instability on as many gilded crowns as possible. So we're going to start by buying 20 gilded crowns. And to show you what 25 instability looks like on one, we have one here. This has 25 instability. Now if I were to do a tier 1 to a tier 2 on this, you would notice we're not in the destructive fracture zone. However, if we do the tier 4 to tier 5, we're at 50%, which means just one more instability would give us 1% chance for that destructive fracture. So we want at least 26 instability. We're going to aim for 35 or higher, and we want to get as many tier 4s, not tier 5s. You only want to craft to tier 4s, because that tier 4 to tier 5 is going to give you a reduced chance and increase our odds of getting a destructive fracture on the item. So what you're going to need to do to make this happen and to have the highest chance, or use my strategy, is you will need about 250,000 gold, as well as about 100 to 150 guardians, glyphs of the guardian to use. The reason you need that much gold is we're going to buy 20 gilded crowns. They cost 11,100 gold each. There will be a slight fee for refreshing in order to get all of them. However, you can save yourself all of the gold cost by just putting a loot filter up, putting in there that you want to find gilded crowns, have them show up as a different color, and just collect all the ones on the ground, as they're all going to come with some sort of instability, just like you would get from the gambler. And then you can start this as soon as you've found 20 of them. That will take longer, but it will save you the 250,000 gold. As for getting the glyphs of the Guardian, you will have to farm those, but you'll need about 100 to 150 of them to follow this strategy. The reason that varies is it depends on your RNG and how well you craft with them on the items, as you'll see as we're about to go through. So let's go ahead and start by buying 20 gilded crowns. So these two that I have here, I don't need. I'm just going to go ahead and throw these out, move this guy out of the way, and then let's go to the gambler. We're going to buy 20 of them. I type in gilded, so they're the ones that pop up. And I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this part so you can see it all, but I'm just going to fast forward because this will take a little bit of time. Alright, that's 20 of them. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to craft on them. So we open up the crafting window. Now remember, we're trying to get tier 4s on our item with instability of 35 or greater. We're going to break some of these, but remember, we're not trying to go any higher than 35, not yet. You can stop at 30, but you want at least 30. 35 is optimal. And also remember, don't craft to tier 5. You want to stop at tier 4, and that way you can have the tier 4 to tier 5, the -5 extra flat percentage loss when we get to the point where we want a destructive fracture. So we're going to throw this in. And when I throw it in, you'll see we got a tier 5, a couple of tier 2s, and we already have 14 instability. So this is where you're going to use your glyphs of the Guardian, because you want to get that instability up and have a high chance. We're going to go ahead and do 2 on the necrotic, throw 2 of those in there. We've got 24 instability. That leaves us with 2 here. We're going to throw 2 on there. We got 34. That's good enough. We don't want to waste a tier 5 yet. And you can tell, wow, we're already crafting great items. We got a tier 18 right off the bat. But you can go ahead and see that if I were to remove the glyph of the Guardian and I were to craft on this, we're down to a 41% chance with a 9% chance for destructive fracture. This one is ready to go. I'm going to put it back in. We don't want to break it yet. We're going to try and set up as many as possible like that. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this part as well as I craft all of these. Of course, it'll all be here for you to see at double the pace so that, you know, I didn't do anything to it. But I'm not going to talk through the whole thing. Let's just get it done. All right, and out of all those, we had about 6 of them break on us, but at the same time, we had quite a few. We've got a total of 4, 8, 12. We've got 15 of these that at least have some percentage for a destructive fracture, and now we're at a very critical moment. And here's why it's a good thing. At this point, every successful craft that we have on these items only increases the chance for us to get a destructive fracture on the item. So now at this point, we're just going to craft on them. We don't care what we craft. You want to try and go for the tier 4 to tier 5s first, as that's going to have the highest chance for a destructive fracture. And we're going to go through all of these. And there's about an average of an 8% chance on all of these for us to get a destructive fracture, which means 1 in 12 of them should give it to us. Since we have 15, we should get, the odds of probability is that we'll get at least 1 destructive fracture out of this. We might get none. We might get more than 1. The other day in the stream, we had about the same amount of numbers. We ended up getting 3. So let's go ahead and do this part. So we're going to go ahead and throw the first one in. Make sure you take your glyphs of the Guardian off. You don't want that increased chance. You want to break these. So we're going to reduce that, and if we click this first one, we're down to a 41% chance of success. We click it, boom, wow. Oh, you guys are going to think that this is fake, but dear God. First one, right off the bat, is fucking 45% of damage dealt to mana, 87% spell crit, 20. God, that's better than the one that I have. Okay, that's, of course it's got to work that way. Let's keep going. Next one, we're gonna throw this in. For this one, we got a tier 4 here. When we put that on, we got a 40% chance upgrade, and we did not get a destructive fracture. We did get a damaging. We throw that on the ground. We go for the next one. Tier 4, here's a physical resist. We're gonna doom that. Boom, another fracture. Got a damaging again. We'll throw that on the ground. Next one, we got a tier 4 cold resist. We'll do that first. 46% chance. Successful. A level of enchant weapon. I hate to waste those. We're going to shatter this after this. We throw this on and boom, fractured. We got a damaging fracture again. And then we throw in another one. I can't believe that first one did it. I'm going to hear about that. And then this one we have a 43% chance. And boom, we got another just fractured crown. 104% spell crit. That's the highest one of those I've gotten. 26% mana and only 36%. We're aiming, we want a perfect rule. We would really like to see that 50% of damage dealt to mana before health, because that's what our build that I'm working on is going to be based on, is having as much damage reduction as possible as a mage. You are going to be very, very tanky. But we got another one. We'll throw that in the inventory. And we continue on. We're only halfway through these. We got another tier 4 here for Dex. Boom. Item fractured. We got a minor fracture on that one. Next one, we have a tier 4 physical resist. Only a 48% chance. Fractured. Yeah, we only had a 2% chance on that one for a destructive fracture. Next, we have armor. We'll go ahead and throw that up. Boom. Another. That's our third one already. Third fractured crown. This one had really bad rules. We'll throw that one in. We still got some more of these. We're getting a lot of these. You guys are going to know exactly how to make these and trade them for multiplayer, yeah? And we got some decks. I probably shouldn't give this secret away. We got up to a 40. Ooh, we even got a critical success. Now we're down to a 40% chance. That's huge. Wow, we have another percent chance here. We go with a 43% chance and item fractured. Next one, we've got dodge rating. We'll go ahead and go for that first. Fractured. And our next one here, we have intelligence. Item fractured. And our next one, what do we got on here? Let's go for the mana, which is a little high. Okay, here we go. We got a destructive fracture here. Nope. Down to a 34% chance. Oh, man, we're going to go all the way with this one. We're back up to 54, which is horrible. This is why you want to have many tier 4s ready to go. But we're going to go ahead and craft it. Okay, we're back to a 6% chance for destructive fracture. This one's going to be a tier 20. Yeah, still going. 34% chance. Item fracture. Didn't get the destructive. We did get a damaging, though. We'll take that off. We got 3 left here. We'll do this ward potion on potion use, or ward gained on potion use. Boom. Got another one. 33%, still not, we haven't gotten any better than a 45% rule. Here we got tier 5 health, we'll throw that in there, fractured again, throw that on the ground, and our last one, poison resist. and we didn't get it. So out of 20 gilded helms that we started with, we got 4 fractured crowns. That's ridiculous. So you should be able to get one. I got 3 the first time I did it, and I got 4 this time. Of course, it is RNG based. You got to have a little bit of luck, but I think this strategy is really set up for using the Glyphs of the Guardian, getting all of your items, you know, getting a group of them together, and just going at it all at once is going to really increase your odds, especially when you're crafting on 15 items straight, and every chance, you know, in that destructive fracture zone not only has a chance to do it, but for every successful craft that happens in there, you increase the odds of getting a destructive fracture. But anyways, the reason this guide video is going out is because I want you to get one, and you're going to need one for the next mage build that I have coming out, and it is going to be a tanky boy. So let's go ahead without further ado, end this video here, and stay tuned. There will be a teaser for that mage build coming out soon. Hopefully, I wish you luck, you get a fractured crown soon, and as always, stay safe, travelers.